What's going on, guys? Welcome to the David F. Haas podcast. I'm in at Lungovita today with my two main staff, Myah, Pathak, Warren, Twigg. And we're doing some shooting out here, and I'm like, hey, why don't we just do a podcast with these two for the Lungovita podcast? We have no idea what we're going to talk about, but it's probably going to end up getting real good at some level. So welcome, Myah, Warren.
Thank you.
Thanks for jumping on the podcast. I think this is where I think I want to take it first. Is like, what does it take to start something like what we've started out here at Lungovita? Like, from your perspective. And I know what it took from my perspective, right? For me, it was like a gigantic leap of faith. I invested a good portion of my life savings, and then I invested all of my life savings. So that was the leap. There that I had to make. And then the second thing that came to that was huge for me was it took me, I ran trios for 20 something years. It took me 15 years to get to a place where I could turn it over to somebody else. And I did that here in like 2 years by turning it over to Myah first. And then I brought Warren on board as well. And you two guys have just just stepped up, and are you're running the whole show. I'm in the background just doing the marketing and stuff like that. So let's start with you, Myah. From your perspective, it's what is actually happening out here? What does it take to start a business of this scale?
So it pretty much goes hand in hand with exactly what you said, just from a different perspective. It definitely takes a lot of dedication. You need to be ready for what you're doing out here because it is a lot of work and it does not stop. And then it takes a lot of trust, honestly, because I wouldn't be able to do this for just anyone. Dave has to have trust in me and I have to have trust in Dave. Because without that, we're both just kind of taking this big leap and relying on hope. But since I trust Dave and Dave trusts me, we work a lot better together.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think it takes a lot of trust. It takes a lot of time too. And one of the things that it being about 40-minute drive to get out here, and it's just when I'm out here, I'm out here for the day. It's I don't come here for I'll a 5-hour shift or something. It's just I'm out here morning until night basically, and there you're just able to just dive into it, and we get a lot of shit done when we're out here. Yeah, really. Yeah.
I think it's about so what you're talking about, Warren, is just immersing yourself in a job, and same for you, Myah. It's and I think that if someone's listening, what they need to do now, I got the fucking nose now. We got the Lungovita, It's instead of saying or and or huh, we say and Zach and Warren are the worst for it out here. Every time I'm around these guys, I start saying all the time. But my point was that you have to take a leap of faith at some point. Myah left a job, she was in transition of a job, but she left a higher paying job to come work for me. There it is again. But she did that with this idea and this vision of she was going to connect to something greater than herself, which was the vision of Lungovita and what people experience out here. And that takes faith, and then also what both of you pretty much do. And I know for sure, Myah, especially in the beginning, you put way more hours in than you were getting paid for, right? Mm-hmm. So it's what's the difference between your mindset, right, and the mindset of somebody who is counting every second, and if their boss doesn't pay them for every single dollar, they're they go home and they vent to their family and say, oh, they're not paying me. They're not in this place of of seeing the bigger picture. So what is the difference between why do you do it, I guess, is the question.
I guess it all kind of stems down to the vision. When Dave brought me out here for the first time, I remember stepping foot on the property and just thinking holy crap, this is breathtaking. I'm going to work here. I'm going to run this place. I don't really know. But when you start to see people coming in and enjoying what you're doing, it makes every single hour worth it. And when your boss gets to take a step back and have trust in you, it's a really, really cool feeling because you want to succeed, not only for yourself, but for them too. And even the staff, if I expect all these people to work hard for me. I want them to see me working 10 times harder, because I'm not really one to, just be someone to tell people what to do. I want them to see that I'm working just as hard as they are, and I want them to be meeting that level too. And they do. And it doesn't go unnoticed. Like, Dave is constantly recognizing that. The staff is constantly recognizing that. And the people who come out here are constantly recognizing it. And it makes every single second that I work for this place entirely worth it.
Let me see. Yeah, I think it's like what I kind of heard there was like, one is a belief in the vision, right? And then two is having me believe in you is motivating as well. It's like, I didn't like, eventually the money will come. We talked about that, but I don't have to motivate Myah with money, because I've motivated her with responsibility and my own trust in her. And that is sometimes more powerful than actual money. And so when you feel like you have that support and you feel like you're connected to the vision and you want it, it's beyond just the hours you're putting in the clock, right? That is when like you get rewarded. Like, you eventually, when Lungovita is successful, this is going to pay dividends for you. And I think you believe and know that and trust that. And, but that's not even the reason you're doing it. You're doing it because you're connected to this greater vision. And once you let go of that outcome of one day I'll make money, you're just doing it. It kind of comes through in all aspects, and it's kind of trickling down to all staff as well, right? What do you think, Warren? Because Warren and I were also like, we've been friends for a long time too, so right. I kind of pulled him from his family business.
Yes,
and
yes,
he left his family business to come out here and work. And
yeah.
I know. I think the thing for me with you, Warren, was that like I saw something greater in you, right? And so like I kind of forced you into seeing it for yourself.
Yeah, and yeah, I think that you did that too. We did stuff together prior to working here. We still do stuff like sailing and things like that. I remember when you bought this property, I came out here for the demolition. So I seen it at the very, very beginning. So before like the vision, I guess, because there was nothing on the property. And then I just came out here just to do stuff. But then about 2 years later, then I'm back, and then it's got this the vision thing, like you said, and it was pretty wild. And even before this, we were working together with the t-shirt thing.
Yeah.
Which is the t-shirts that we're wearing right now.
Which is a story that we should tell, actually.
Yeah. We I was working, and Dave was doing his thing, and then we wanted to do something together, and Dave had this vision of this apparel line called Effect Apparel, and it was clothing for yourself or other people, and kind of the concept like this, where it's like frontward facing or mirrored facing, and we did this whole campaign for it, and it didn't.
We got some sales.
Yeah, we got some sales.
Yeah.
It didn't work out like we wanted it to work out, and then it kind of got shelved, and then unshelved when we wanted to use it as staffing shirts, basically.
Right. So which is actually a wild story, a story of like synchronicities. Make sure that thing's still recording. Then see it. Yeah, it's like a thing of synchronicity. Like Warren and I have this idea for this business. It doesn't really fly. I ended up ordering like thousands of dollars worth of shirts that we never sold. Yeah. And so then I brought them out here for the first one-day retreat that we did, and I gave them to everybody for free.
Right.
And then the staff was like, oh, we want one. And then it became the shirt of Lungovita. It's kind of like our staff shirt now. And so when people are out here, they're seeing our staff wearing shirts that say be present, compassion, gratitude. Yeah. And so oh man, that actually kind of gives me like chills, like just thinking about how that all this came together. It's like something that I thought was a failure turned out to be like this amazing tool that we are now bringing out to Lungovita, because when people see our staff wearing those shirts, they're reminded of why they came here in the first place, right? And so the I guess the lesson I would take away from here is that there is no failures, right? It's just like lessons, and even the things that you think are failures are going to be like really, really huge learning lessons. So let's talk about failure, because we've failed a lot out here. Myah likes to point out my failures all the time. So it's like, what are the big fuck ups? Myah, go ahead. You got a list.
Well, I don't know if I can say the whole.
You can say them.
We've had some health and safety fuck ups.
Yep.
We've had some flooring fuck ups. We've had some construction decisions that probably weren't the best made. In Dave's defense, like we said, clearly we are a startup. We don't have a ton of money, so we were doing some quick fixes. Like, for example, the first row of domes that we installed had concrete floors, and those concrete floors literally gave me nightmares. So,
But you think it's going to be good, right?
Yeah.
You think it's just
Yeah,
like, oh, that's a good
yeah.
idea. Let's put on concrete.
you can't really base what we're doing here off of anything else. So it is entirely a leap of faith. It is entirely betting on yourself. And so sometimes you don't make the right call. And then sometimes you hire someone who will constantly remind you of those bad calls you made to hope that you don't make them again.
And so like I'm like a build the plane while flying it kind of person, and Maya's kind of like a build the plane, check it 55 times before you take off,
And take off.
and then take off, and then land again, and make sure everything's right. And so like it's actually a nice like kind of like yin and yang kind of approach, and I think it probably ends up complimenting us because I'm like go go go, and Maya's like slow slow slow, and so we end up kind of falling in the middle. Would you say?
It's cool. I typically describe mine and Dave's like relationship in terms of working as Dave is on step 10 and I'm on step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So a couple step 10s were made before I joined the team. And now we're thinking of at least like 1, 2, and 3 before we go. So
Yeah, but I still like
Take
to
what I
skip
get.
us to you.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
What, Warren? What do you think about like working in that kind of environment?
Well, I mean, I can see it from both sides. I think I'm a little bit of both because I like the 10-step idea, but then I also like the, planning ahead step idea. And I mean, you gotta pick and choose when you do that kind of thing. Like trying to think of any other major fuck ups.
Well, then the biggest fuck up was the pool. Like what did we fuck up there?
timeline,
Yeah.
the health and safety,
It took a long time. Yeah. The painting.
the research.
Yeah, we didn't really have a checklist.
Yeah. And we're just letting people kind of enjoy it as got presented to them kind of thing. And
We knew at some level that there was some health and safety shit that we had to do,
yeah.
and we chose to not do it. We were like, we were like, well, I mean, the pool's been here for 50 years, and we created all these justifications, and so this brings me to like another lesson. It's about a lesson on integrity, and I have made the decision in my life to live an integrous life, where I just try to not tell any lies. I try not to screw people over. But where I get tested is around probably my biggest trigger, let's say, would be like the fear of losing money, let's say. And so because that's still in me, which is crazy at a conscious level, it's not anymore, right? At a conscious level, like I know I'm never going to be broke. Like I just know, like Lungovita could close tomorrow and I would be fine because I have the skills to build another business, to do whatever, right? So I just know that, but at a subconscious level, there still is this like little kid who's scared of going broke and experiencing the shame of being broke. And so when it comes to big money-making decisions, like shutting our pool down for months on end, I chose the one that didn't have integrity. And because of that, I paid the fucking price hard because Sanka came out and fucking dropped the axe on us. Right? Yeah. Can we believe that? I don't know if we can say her name or not. But you know what? The thing is, like, regardless of Sanka, she's a stickler at health and safety. But it's like, we probably would have had a way better relationship if we would have involved them right from the get-go.
Yeah.
And
you live and learn.
yeah, and so, but the lesson for me that I've had to probably learn, I don't know, a couple thousand times, when it involves money, it's like, that's when I let that integrity slip, and my ego finds ways to justify it, and like, like the pool's been here for 50 years, and all of these things that I say, and it's like, no, it never works. It just never works. So you might as well experience the pain early, because the pain you're going to experience down the road is going to be 10 times worse, right? And so I should have just said, let's just bring everybody in, let's pay all the permits, let's do everything that we got to do, and yeah, maybe the pool doesn't get open until 2024. it would have been better than I think what we went through. Maybe, I don't know. I think so. What do you think about it?
Just never forget, because when our pool got shut down, Dave was in Florida. And so it was just me and Warren here. And I called Dave and I said, okay, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this. I named it all. And Dave's only response back to me was, oh, wow, I thought you were calling to say I told you so. I said, we don't have time for that right now. So, I mean, even though, I mean, it happened, it sucked. I mean, we picked up the pieces. It's open now.
Yep.
And
I personally have made the commitment to, like, we're just never going to cut any corners anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's like everything has to be on the up and up. And, and you know, when you get into, like, startup mode, it's so easy to do that. Like, because, like, you just, like, you connected to this vision. You know it's going to be this amazing thing, and you want to go so fast, but sometimes you do have to slow down. So, so I guess slow down to speed up, because that ended up probably really slowing us down, like not going through the proper channels and just being a little bit more organized. And then I think that's the other thing for me, was that I was so in it, like in the building of Lungovita, that I hadn't really even taken a time to slow down and like lift my head and say, okay, like what's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that we need to make sure we do, so that we're ready to. We could have probably opened the pool in the exact same time with all the proper permits if we would have had that step back and that planning. But because there's so much on our plate, I think that's one of the struggles early on too, is that you end up there's just so much on your plate, right? And so you have to be comfortable in the chaos.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's where the grit comes in. If you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to start your own thing, it's going to be chaotic. It can't always be everything perfectly planned out. There's going to be chaos, but you have to get more comfortable in managing that chaos. So how are you guys doing managing the comfort? How is the comfortability in the chaos?
I'll be honest, this place can shock me every single day. There's always something new that's really shocking, but in terms of being comfortable with the chaos, you actually almost need to thrive in the chaos. Like, it almost needs to push you. Like, if you don't come out on top, the chaos comes out on top. So that just needs to motivate you even more. And I mean, we're slowly learning from our mistakes, and we're definitely making the changes we need to. And so, I mean, there's always going to be new chaos around the corner.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here to anticipate it, and Dave's here to jump right into it.
Like, what about you, Warren? Because you kind of came from a family business.
But I was just thinking, because like we actually all came from service business, and you kind of like strive in the chaos of that, because it's all like fast paced, and it's all like, you know, making like almost like, you know, not split decisions, but like, you know, quick decisions, and doing what's best every single day. So that was I don't know why that was on my mind, but it was.
No, it's true. But like, it's like, it's about thriving in that chaos. I think that was like a great little up there.
And then coming from like a family business, you know, working at a you know, in sales, working at a desk, and now like, you know, my office kind of like with like this view, and it's like you're almost working in like a you're working in somebody's vacation. So somebody's coming here for, you know, time to relax, and like this is what we come to every single day, and it is one of the perks of being out here, and you know, experiencing it, you know, 4 different seasons of the year. Yeah, it's fun.
Do you guys find like the city is busier now too? Like, well, I know when I was working out here, or I was like, even the drive, it's like so peaceful. Then as soon as I get past like 42 and I'm in the Lozon, it's like, it feels like there's so much traffic now. 100%. And it's just because it's just so much slower. Not even slower, like, but it's just like less people. I don't know what it is, but it's just like it's just like this calm, relaxing, and then you kind of, it's like almost like you get to the certain point, and it's just like you're in the calm, you cross a certain boundary of the city, and it's like back to the chaos, and you can almost sense the energy. Like, I used to have this actually back in the day when I'd be on a vacation, and I'd finally cross the bridge back into Canada, and you almost like energetically breathe a sigh of relief of like home. I don't have that anymore ever since the whole COVID shit. But I actually get it the opposite. Like, when I come home, I'm like, ugh. When I get to the States, I'm like, oh, this is my place. Yeah. But there's like this sense of peace and calm out there. Very good, Zach?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, so let's wrap this thing up. I think it's actually been a really great conversation about like what it actually takes to be successful in a startup, because, you know, like 90-something-5% of startups fail, you know, in the first year. We made it through that. I think there's some like 60% fail in 4 years, so we got to get past that threshold
on that.
right? You know, the one thing I do have going is like I have a track record of just doing whatever it takes to be successful, and I think I operate best with my back against the wall, and you know, or the burn the boats kind of mentality, you know. And so I think we have that on our side, is that I will do whatever it takes to make sure that we stay afloat. But when you get to this scale, it has to be at like a bigger, there has to be a bigger shifts happening, because back in the day with like Treehouse, I could just like get on the phone and start calling people and say, you got to get down here because like I'm not gonna be able to pay my mortgage tomorrow, right? Yeah. Whereas this is like, because everything is so big, the mortgage is big, the bills are big, the payroll's big. It's like you have to be doing that at a bigger scale, which we've been able to prove that we can do out here. So,
yeah, I think so.
Just the growth that we've seen, starting from, you know, year one, we increased our sales by 6 times, and now we've probably increased our sales by over double. And I think 2024 is going to be a big year out here at Lungovita. Like, I think that the summer of 2024, if you don't book before mid-April, I don't think you're getting it, right? And that excites me, because not only is it going to create a bunch of income for us to do more here, but it's going to be a bunch more people that get to experience, you know, that piece that we get to connect to every day when we can disconnect from all the busyness of what we got going on. So what do you guys think's happening out here in 2024?
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, it's gonna be really busy. Where we have a little bit of construction left to do. Well, a little bit, kind of a lot of it. Yeah. But once that's done, we're probably gonna build something else after that.
But it won't be at like this race.
It won't be. Yes. Yeah. It's almost gonna be like well, it's never really going to be a finished product, because we're always going to be changing it and evolving it. But it's going to be pretty close, and it's going to be cool for people to experience it. I always have the same kind of conversation with people where I tell people they have to come out 4 times a year, because it's like 4 different seasons and it's 4 different experiences. Like we're kind of still in like the fall experience, because there's not snow on the ground. It's not like frigid cold out, but I mean, you know, it's an experience to be out here in the wintertime, and you know, you can imagine what it's like in the summertime. But it's cool to experience it. Different.
What's the one thing you're most excited about 2024?
Most excited about, just, you know, a sold out week, and it's just like coming in and day out, because it's like, you know, the weekend's going to be sold out, you know, Friday and Saturday, it's like, you know, we're both going to be here, and it's going to be like, you know, crazy busy. But then, like, you know, experiencing that on like, you know, a Tuesday and a Wednesday, it's just like, you know, just basically every day is going to be like a Friday, Saturday night in the summertime. And that's, I guess, kind of excited for, because it's like, yeah, we strive in chaos, and you know, we just just make the experience.
Just excited for it to be busy. What about you, man?
I'm honestly excited for the new feedback. I mean, we've gotten so much in the last 2 years that we've taken it like highly into consideration, and we've made a bunch of changes. So now for the guests to be able to experience what we've done to the place, and they always have feedback. You're always going to hear something that could change or something that you could be doing better. So I'm really excited to find out what that is at this point.
Yeah, and I think in the beginning when we were getting that feedback, it was like I wanted to kill every single person that gave me feedback. But then something shifted in me, and I don't know what it was, but it was like it was a recognition that actually it was one of my clients. Actually, my coaching clients was coaching me, and she's like, you're just too connected to this. It's like he's like, this feedback is like gold. It's like people are telling you the things that are wrong with your place,
right?
But the reason was that I had put so much sweat and money, and then so that is like I've done all this work, and someone says, you know what you should do, and I was like but then I recognized, no, it's like that is the things that we need to do, and we do want to hear from guests. We would appreciate it if it was in a kind manner, but sometimes if it's not, we got to look at that as well. So it's like looking at looking at all of the feedback and then making the determinations of what we need to do to make sure that the guest experience is the best. And so, I mean, I guess we could sum this whole entire podcast up is that it all comes down to the customer. It's like, we really want people to come out here and experience the present moment, experience the peace that exists in this space, on this property. And we want to make it so effortless and seamless and perfect as we possibly can. But we know that there is no such thing as perfect, but we are going to do our best to make that happen. And when we do that, it's like, not only does the guest feel good, but like we feel good collectively as a staff. And, you know, that, and I think almost all of our staff, like at a subconscious level, like really want that for our guests. That's what I think. Man, you guys feel that?
Yeah, stuff's family.
Yeah. We've kind of like, you know, created this family out here, and so when you come to Lungovita, you're kind of coming into our house, and we want to treat you like a house guest. Yep. And so I think people pick up on that, and we're just going to continue to just keep getting better.
I hate you.
I don't know if the audio can pick that out, but I think she's hungry.
So loudly, like 3 times.
Yeah.
And every time I look over, Warren's trying not to laugh.
But and that's the other thing too, is like, we're just having fun, you know, we're having fun. And yeah, there's stress, and yeah, you know, sometimes we might run out of money, but like, we're having fun, you know. And like Zach and I were talking about this the other day. It's the process. It's not the destination. It's the process of building it. It's like, how can we create something that people are going to come out and they're going to love? And when we see them love it, we get so much like joy out of that. When people are in that hot tub, you know, in the pool, and they're just loving it, and we know the work and the money that went into making that, it's like, it just feels so good. And so we're connected to something so much greater than just making money out here. And I think people feel that when they come out. And I think for any entrepreneur, that's what you got to connect to as well, is like, you know, you got to connect to like how you can serve and have a passion for that serving. And if you do that, it's going to trickle down into your team. And if the team is connected, it's going to trickle down to the team below them. And then you get this family kind of environment that your guests are going to pick up on. So yeah, cool, guys. I think that was great. Yeah. And I want Zach to do a counter on this podcast, to see how many times Warren said you know. Do you think that's just a little ding every time?
Just a little corner, counter there?
That would be amazing. Anyways, thanks guys for taking the time. It was fun. Okay, cool. Don't forget, if you got any value whatsoever from this podcast, just click that subscribe button, and we'll see you again next Sunday.
It happened again. Sorry. I really hope you can't